Safety Net Studio presents.
Well, I remember the first kind of, and at least in my memory, where they kind of got a little racy was Ravishing Rick Rude.
I remember Ravishing Rick Rude. You just unlocked the memory.
Yeah, he did the whole hip thrust, yeah.
Didn't he have a robe he would take off?
Yep.
And you think I have a bad memory. Woo!
Welcome to the show called Serving Sundays. My name is Dave Wheeler. That is my wife, Candace Rae. Thank you for joining us. If you're listening on the audio version, please feel free to hit like. They have that option now on Spotify. If you're watching on the YouTube version, you can hit that like button. You can hit subscribe. And of course, you can comment down below. That's how you can help us. There's also links to buy us a coffee. I don't know if you're actually buying us a coffee. I don't know if I'll actually use it for coffee, but it'll go to good use. But there are support links on both the audio and video versions of the show. But if you are on the YouTube version, you wouldn't believe how much commenting or even just hitting that like button really does make a difference. And I've been watching a lot of videos on YouTube about how to, grow your audience, and that makes a huge difference as far as the algorithm. It's very different than radio. Mm-hmm. Very different than radio.
Very different than radio.
As far as building the audience.
Because radio, you don't have an immediate reaction to... I guess you don't hear either, though. But you don't have... You have, like, breaks, in your show.
Well, even as far as the way people engage with radio is differently now. Because people can text in live to the show now. Right. They've always been able to call in, and that's been a huge part of...
I would love a text in line here.
Well, here's Candace's number. It's 204. You actually can send messages to the show. There's a link down in the audio description of the show. You can send in messages, but the best way to do that is just to comment below. But in radio, it has evolved over the years where people would call in all the time. That was your direct line, and then voicemails became a thing, and then now texting in live. And
people prefer texting over calling, don't they?
Absolutely. Yeah. More and more so.
I'm still old school. I love a call.
Yeah, more and more so. We're noticing people really actively engaging on the text line,
which is great.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but having those also helps, because that's all in its one essence sort of tracked as like, oh, you got 500 text messages today. That's great for the person who's buying the sponsorship for that text line, because they want to know how much engagement is happening. So that's why comments and likes and things like that make a big difference in this virtual world that we're really kind of learning and leaning into.
Well, not only that, but I mean, you don't get a busy line when you text in.
Yeah, I guess so, hey. But that was the fun of radio back in the day. You'd dial up a number and be like, you're going to win this call. And be like, beep, beep, oh, shit. Beep, beep, oh, shit. Beep, beep, and now you just text in to win, which I guess is great because you get more people texting in, which is great for the text line, but then you get, more people. It's like first come, first serve, like who's the quickest on your phone. So then there's like this demand to always be ready to go. But I guess if it's a radio promo, you want to win it. It could be a good thing.
Even through social media as well, radio, it really leans on, and this is true when they're hiring people now, they look at their social media engagement, they look at their social media presence, they look at their social media content. All that comes into play when they're looking to make a hire.
Which is crazy to think, like that did not exist for us growing up. So now even like your LinkedIn profile, like it's such a big deal. Make sure your LinkedIn profile is updated. Oh, say hi, Panda. Say hi. Make sure your LinkedIn profile is, what's this like? And people are checking. They're checking your footprint online to see what it is. So it has now become such an extension of yourself. Mm-hmm. That's why you want to be a CIA agent. Dun, dun, dun.
Well, it kind of feels like a decentral intelligence agency, because they want to, they want to know. They want to know everything.
I'm just putting it out there anyway. Speaking
of radio, you've now been married into radio for 17 years, and there's an old adage that an old colleague of mine used to say was, "Who's your radio widow?" And I didn't understand it at first, and he said, "Your girlfriend. Have you got a radio widow?" And I said, "What do you mean?" He goes, "Well, you're married to radio. Everyone else comes second after that." And so you
learn that very quickly in that.
You've been married into radio now for 17 years. And
do I get like some sort of watch or something?
No.
Oh, like you have that in companies, like 15 years, 10 years.
Yeah, no, that's with the unions.
Oh.
we don't have those in radio.
You definitely don't have those.
But an esoteric question for you, being married into radio for 17 years, and now in a weird way kind of, being involved in a podcast now for 8. So almost half of those years you've been behind a microphone with me.
Wow.
Yeah, crazy to think about. But the first 8 years compared to the second 8 years, I mean, hearing about your life and not being able to really interject at all. And now even on my radio show, you're a regular contributor whenever we call you. We call you at least once a week.
Yeah. Well, it's different because now I feel like I have a say. You know, before I'd come home and there are times I will happily admit that you'd come home and I was like, excuse me? That is not how that happened. You made me seem like a villain in that story. That's not how I thought. And then it was like, it would trickle over. It's a different kind of trickle over in a relationship of something spilling into the next day, right? But it was like that story was told because you wanted to tell the story to glamorize whatever was happening. I don't have a specific one right now, which goes to show you how little the stuff like that matters after time and time again. But now I prefer it now because with social media and with this podcast and with Instagram or Facebook or you calling me, I have an ability to have an opinion. So I think that I prefer it on the latter. Is that how you say it? I prefer it on this side than on that side.
Yeah.
I prefer the grass over here than over there because listening to stories of your life and not having to say, and then people coming up to you, like a lot of times at the beginning, it was like, what? You know, I didn't hear it. Also, fun fact, when you and your partner are in an argument and you really, really don't want to hear their voice and then their voice is on the radio, annoying.
You mean the voice? The voice I put on for you.
Yeah.
When I got home, my wife said this.
And my voice used to be this high voice. Now when I walk into the gym or people talk to me, it's like, "What's up, brother?" So my voice has gone down and everything. And yeah, well, that's the evolution of our lives.
Yeah, that's that kind of went gym viral, I guess.
I guess so. I think where was I? I was someplace and they're like, they said it to me and I was like, no, this isn't, this isn't becoming a thing. And now I'm getting like Hulk Hogan memes. I remember Hulk Hogan and Macho Man Randy Savage. When I was a kid growing up, I used to love, I'm going to take you way back. They used to have braids. Okay. They had braids and they were brothers and they were the bulldog.
The British Bulldog? The British Bulldog. And yeah, so it was the...
I used to love that kind of wrestling. Like I loved Hulk Hogan. Loved is a gratuitous word there, but I enjoyed watching it at the time. I was really into watching wrestling. They made it very...
I think it was the British Bulldog, Jim the Anvil Neidhart, and Bret Hart.
Bret Hart, that's right too. And then there was also like the Undertaker.
Of course, yeah.
Right, so that whole scene, I grew up in that. So when people are sending me memes about like Hulk Hogan, I think, well, I guess, you know, when I was growing up, Mr. Rogers and Bob Ross were two of my 4 or 5 icons that I loved. You know, Hulk Hogan was number 10, but all right, whatever, we're good.
He made the list.
But he came in and he, what did he always do? Like, what you gonna do? Like he did something with his shirt and he had it and it was like, and then there was the guy, Ric Flair. Woo! I remember that.
Nature Boy Ric Flair, yeah.
And then it just turned into like everything does. It sort of turns itself into a beast, right? All of a sudden advertisers and things get their hands into it and it becomes bigger and more dramatic. And then I found out that it was all fake and I was like, what?
Well,
what?
Unfortunately, it got labeled with the fake.
I guess you're right. It's not because people do get hurt. People generally got hurt.
It's not fake. It's choreographed. It's choreographed. But
it's not UFC. It's not boxing.
No, it's not a combat sport.
Right.
It's
but growing up, that's what I thought.
Oh, sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. And
I thought Macho Man really did take Hulk Hogan's girlfriend, and then they had to get married, and it was like it was the first time all that drama. I was like, wow, this is a real story.
Well, did you believe soap operas were real too?
No, but I grew up on Days of Our Lives. My mom watched it all the time after. So like at 3:30 it would play, or 4 o'clock. He'd come home and he'd sit down, and it was Bob Ross and then that. And he'd watch, you know, this person with this person. So I don't know. It was just a TV show, right? I grew up on a lot of TV shows.
That's that soap operas I was banned from. I was not allowed watching those. So like I was the product of babysitters, and so I went to babysitters after school. And
so mom said no, babysitter said yes.
No,
okay.
it was I had to go watch on a different TV, the one downstairs, and what I got was Hercules, Spider-Man, Astro Boy. Yeah, like a lot of those cartoons would come on.
Astro Boy, the best.
But yeah, no, my mother made it very clear he is not allowed to watch.
Yeah, and I think that's
soap
great.
Operas. But I mean, truthfully, wrestling it was a soap opera.
Was a soap opera.
Sure, it was.
Yeah. So again, I mean, I would prefer to have more of a Mr. Rogers sort of feel to me, like Mrs. Rogers kind of feel. But you know, Hulk Hogan's not so bad. I think that they should bring back a version of Mr. Rogers. Don't you think?
There's like 30 different versions of him now on YouTube.
Oh, with
Yeah.
AI?
No. I
Oh.
mean like people doing that kind of
Really?
children's programming. Absolutely.
Oh, about that. I already know that. That makes me happy. And then I've seen
Well, I mean, Mr. Dress Up is a more apt Canadian reference.
Sir Dress Up. That's right. You went into a castle.
Yeah, he had Finnegan and Casey and Finnegan.
Wow.
Yeah, they take the trolley into the other room. He had the tickle trunk and everything.
I don't think he called it a tickle trunk.
He sure did. And that was the tickle trunk. Yeah, there's been memes. Don't worry.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I did have some wrestling. That's why I think I
The Friendly Giant too.
The Friendly Giant.
Yeah, grew up on that one.
Yeah, those are good. Those are really good and wholesome.
Out of curiosity,
Well,
since
I think they're wholesome, but if I wonder if I go back now, I'd be like, oof. Like when you see some of those shows that, like Night Court or Married with Children or something, you're like, whoa, you can't get away with that now. Like,
Yeah.
you can't say that.
well, and it's evolved and it's continuing to evolve as the same way wrestling has. I mean, man, they went down some pretty big adult themed
Yeah, like
shows.
the guy who ran it, then all of a sudden the daughter took over and we became, like, you're right, a big soap opera.
Well, I remember the first kind of, and at least in my memory, where they kind of got a little racy was Ravishing Rick Rude.
I literally, you just unlocked the memory.
Yeah, he did the whole hip thrust.
And
Yeah.
Didn't he have a robe he would take off?
Yep.
And you think I have a bad memory. Woo!
And he actually, when he, for a certain period of time, he took off the robe and he had Elizabeth on his pants, which was Jake the Snake Roberts' manager and girlfriend / wife,
Wow.
I believe.
Wow. We really are kids of the 90s.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And anyways, I remember one time Jake the Snake kept saying, don't wear those, don't wear those. And there was a show where he tore the pants right off him, underwear and everything, and dragged him around the stage naked, and they had to blur it out. And I remember going, whoa! But then I think that may have been, to my memory, that was when they kind of ramped it up because they're, of course,
Because all of a sudden the ratings came in and people were excited about it, right? Because people now, we're so desensitized to everything because we have this phone in our hand that gives us the ability to see everything. And, now, unfortunately, you see negative news and you're, within a 5-minute span of reading, you got your coffee and you have your phone in front of you, you can go from a positive meme to somebody doing yoga to a war and to this you should be mad at, this you should be mad, and it's 5 o'clock, you know what I mean? And you've had 5 minutes and your brain has been inundated with all of this stuff. And so I really do think these kinds of shows, when they saw the ratings and everything, remember Maury Povich?
Of course. You are not the father.
And then what was the other one? Ricky Lake? Mm-hmm. Like all of that was based on so much drama. So much.
Well, I think Phil Donahue was kind of the godfather of that one.
Wow. We're really going back in time. Mm. Wow.
Well, and I'm bringing all this up for a reason, but before I do, I'm curious to know, because had you started maybe even 15 years earlier with this whole fitness journey that you're on, there could have been a possibility of you getting recruited by the World Wrestling Entertainment and doing that
dressed as
thing.
a Care Bear.
No, getting in the ring and battling it out.
You think so?
Look, if you're fit and you're shredded like that,
bless your heart for even thinking that. No, going up on the top rope. I mean, no, I don't have that in me. But
it's all choreographed. It's all fake, isn't it? It's all fake.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know.
I mean, they get hurt in there, but
I mean, I was thinking more like Vanna White. Wear a really nice dress, great arms. Point to shoot and smile. Tell a little joke on the side.
But the reason why I kind of bring all that up is I watched an interview with Jimmy Donaldson recently that you watched as well, where he did that. And I know we talk about Mr. Beast a lot, but he's the biggest YouTuber in the world.
You talk about Mr. Beast.
Here we are. He did an interview where he talked about how they have so many cameras on. They actually have the world record for the most amount of cameras running for his reality show or game show, whatever you want to call it, Beast Games. And he said one thing that he doesn't do is he doesn't script or he doesn't coach any of the contestants. They just run the cameras and they get what they get. And that's really interesting because reality shows, as much as people believe that that's reality, no different than wrestling, it's very heavily choreographed. Like there's times that they'll say something naturally and then there'll be a producer behind the camera going, do that again, but say it this way. We're kind of building you to be the villain a little bit, or we want you to be the hero. So maybe take this kind of approach. And they're getting coached in real time. So I find it interesting how we are so glued, and it all goes back to that soap opera.
Yeah.
Right.
We want a dramatic story.
Sure.
Everybody wants a story, right? I think that's natural. You're going to sit down and watch something, a TV show for 30 minutes or 1 hour. You want to be slow build, come up, climax, and come back down. So I do find that about him interesting, that there isn't coaching, that it truly is people's trueness versus like, hey, can you say that again? Move over just a little bit, maybe drop your shoulder a little, or whatever. So then you're getting a curated version from the producer. So I think that's what I do appreciate about the content he is trying to put out there, or he ain't trying, he's putting out there, is that there is a level of, hey, I've got the money and I just keep dumping it into bigger and bigger things. I mean, it's a lot. He puts out so much content as far as like big elaborate stuff, but he's built a 10-year career on it, or whatever it is now.
Yeah, he's been going for a long time. Anyways, we were watching that show, and I mean, even the amount of money that he's putting out, I mean, possible $10 million.
Just a drop in the bucket.
Yeah.
Drop in the bucket.
And now, he even said that guy that just climbed the side of that building in Taipei, he would have paid him way more than the $500,000 that Netflix gave him.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Well, I think you'll see him really take over, as far as having... I don't want to, because the idea of a production company and all that, you don't need to do that. That he's showing you that as long as you have the money, you can kind of create whatever that you want, right?
Well, it's funny you say that, because...
And I'm creating cats on tables.
Here we are. You know what? To quote a lot of the shorts that I've been seeing lately when I'm on the YouTube, I'm just a small content creator, and if you use this sound, it'll help you gain followers. Have you seen any of this?
No.
Oh my goodness! Use this sound to gain more followers. Use this sound to gain more followers. Grab the last thing you took in your camera roll and use this sound for more followers.
Oh, I did actually. I've received 3 this week, fitness accounts that have about over 100,000 followers, and they'll be like, hey, we really like your content. We think it's really great, blah, 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 blah. And then if you want to be seen on a bigger platform, for $25, we'll give you this many likes for this. And my response always is, thank you so much for reaching out. I'm not interested. Oh, but you want to be seen at a big, like, no, I just really like an organic build. I mean, I deleted all my social media before. If I cared about the number, I wouldn't have deleted my old social media. And I want to be able to communicate with people the best that I can and have a genuine interaction and everything. And what happens with my social media, who knows? But I'm not going to go and spend $25 or $50 and buy likes. I don't know. Maybe I'm too old for it. I'm just like, no, not for me. I'll make the content. You like it, great. You don't like it, moving on.
Well, and from what I'm learning about YouTube, and thank God YouTube, I just read a big article that they're getting rid of the AI slop. Like, there's a couple of channels that I followed because that's what they're calling it, AI slop. And just those,
feel like,
just the people that are using that standard AI voice and this person on this day and should.
That makes me more angry,
right?
Because as somebody who your voice, like you're also a voice actor. You've done voicing for commercials and things, and to get it, and now
Super Strikers.
Right, but now you can just
cartoons.
You can get it, and it's a cheaper model and everything, but there's no inflection in the voice, and you can totally tell that it is. And I just find that, well, I mean, it's taking food off our table. So for me, I'm not a fan when I see those really great quotes, or somebody's talking and they've got like an overlay, and it's, musician is one thing. I use musicians, but like, did I say musicians? I said it. I'm willing to say it. I'm pretty tired
magician
today.
Or whatever it is you call me. I make music, baby. I make music. I ain't no magician.
But I think that's that part of it does. I think that's a baloney line for me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they're flat out deleting accounts. Like YouTube is going through it, and they have a criteria of like, if you have AI help you write a script, no problem, or even write the script, no problem. But as long as it's your voice, and like there has to be a certain criteria of human involvement. If it's just AI, they're getting the entire channel canceled. Yeah. Speaking of getting canceled, I'm curious to know, and only because the DOJ, the Department of Justice in the U.S., released the rest of the Epstein files. Curious to know.
Can you do this? Oh, that's wrong. That's a game show.
No, you nailed it.
Right?
Yeah. Dun, dun, dun. Okay. Curious to know, now that all this information's out there and all the names are out there.
Can I put on my tinfoil hat?
Absolutely. I'm curious to know, first of all, do you think justice will actually be served?
No. I think you'll have some fall people. I think some people will fall to the side, but I think people within a few months will they will just move on with their day. Enough time has passed. I think there'll be people that are mad and they dig in and they look at it and they're like, oh, that person and that person. But I think most of us know that people like that were doing stuff like that. And, you know, are you still going to watch their movies? Are you still going to vote for them? Are you still going to do this? I don't know. But I think most people don't really care. But in the same sense, when I say that, I don't mean like they don't care about what happened to those people. I think people are angry about that, but they don't feel like they have a position of power to say, well, I'm not going to watch your movies or anything like that, or I'm not going to do that. You know what I mean? Like, I don't think that those people are going to just go, they have millions of dollars. They're just going to go away into wherever they want in their rich little house and just vanish for a little while. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I still don't think we're getting the full story. Like,
of course not.
And the other thing too is, I mean, they can release as many emails as they want. You know, unless you literally have these people in bed with these people, you know, like it's going to be an absolute mess. I still think that.
I think it's disgusting.
I think we can agree on that. I think that goes without saying.
Everybody would agree that it's disgusting, and there's too much talk about it that there's not something happening. It's gross.
Yeah, and I don't think anything will happen, unfortunately.
That's what I mean. I don't think that people are going to come tumbling down.
Yeah, it's unfortunate, and I said this once upon a time that if, you know, they really did have the ability to have all the evidence out on the table, that, and I've said this before, and I still believe it, that you would literally have to tear society down to the threads. Like, you would have to start over, because the most powerful people in the world were involved in this, and a lot of the names are coming out, including, you know, the people that built the foundation of what we now know as the internet. You know, and I'm not going to say any names just for the, you know, the off chance that somebody decides to start going after the same way as YouTube's going after AI. Mm-hmm. Not saying any names, but just all the names that are on there and all of the political leaders and all of the very powerful people that are in there. You would literally have to start over. Like, you would have to start this entire society over. And who do you trust at that point? Like, who do you trust? Who do you trust with power? It's like the Mission Impossible, the most recent one. Who are you going to trust with that much power? Nobody can be trusted with that much power.
Right.
Nobody.
Right.
Because nobody is without sin.
Right.
Not a single human being.
100%. But this is where I think, as somebody who can admit that I have been down a lot of rabbit holes, and I have gone down a lot of them, and I've got caught down in them, and I maybe have done another tunnel and made a bed down there and been like, I have been that person. I have, you know, quietly in the back, in the shadows, been that person, because I want to be respectful of, you know, everybody's opinion and whatever, but I've been that person. When this came to fruition, I think because I'm just like, it's disgusting. I don't want to do with it. I have nothing to do with it. I want to focus on my family. I want to focus on my actual community. Mm-hmm. I want to focus on the people that I can help and support. And what I can do is, for me personally, I can't go and change how, like you said, rip them down, but I can impact my community. And that, to me, is like, that's how my counter to them is, you know what? I'm going to put good out there. I'm going to put kindness out there. I'm going to make sure my boys have what they need. I'm going to make sure that my husband has what he needs. I'm going to make sure that my yoga class people have what they need, because I can't do anything about it. It's not like we don't have you money. Right. And I don't, you probably have to bleep that, but we don't have that kind of money where you can start poking around. And I'm sorry, but most people, when they start poking around, it's like, you either stop poking or you're out of here. And so I don't even bother going down those kinds of rabbit holes so deep. I love when somebody gives me a new, like, rabbit hole, and they'll tell me something, and I'm like, oh, I didn't know that one. And I'll quickly look, and I'm like, fascinating, but I don't go down. And it's
well, it's really easily to get distracted, and the point you bring up is it's a distraction. I mean, and look at all the people that really do have the want and the desire to make change, and they're being distracted right now with this whole situation that's going on in Minneapolis and all over the U.S.
I don't know anything about it. My head's completely down. And you know that. Well, you start talking about it, I'm like, no, don't have the space for it.
Well, the Immigration and Customs Enforcement Agency, or ICE as they're known, there's been protests going on all over the U.S. Like, a lot of states have been having protests, and I thought, these are the people that they focus on this, go do this, cool. Release the files. You know, it's just...
it's a chess game, 100%. Right, but it's always been look over here, don't look over here. It's the old bowl over here. So that's why it's like, I don't get caught up in it. Somebody said to me recently, social media stresses me out. I'm like, don't let it. I'll give you a tip. Unfollow every account that makes you feel stressed or uncomfortable. Do not search for anything on your phone that you don't want to. And maybe it's a bit of an ostrich syndrome, and maybe that's just where I'm at in my life right now. But go involve yourself into the community that you actually are in. Go follow accounts that inspire you to be the best version of yourself. And we talked about this on one of our first shows, which is find your missions. Like, find your 3 hills. Three things that you just are so passionate about. I found a new one, actually.
Oh, boy.
Yeah, I'd like to tell you about that. But I think that's the most important thing. So when people say...
Everyone, Candace Rae has a garden of hills growing.
I do. Yeah, they do. The hills are alive
What's
with
the new one?
Sound of music. This past week, leaving the gym, I had my first sobering experience dealing with somebody who was in shock. I left the gym. I was talking to you. I call you every time I'm leaving. Hey, babe, I'm leaving. I'm on my way. Is there anything I can grab? No. How are you guys doing?
This is great because you're actually getting to tell this version of the story from the one that I told on the radio.
Yeah, but you know what? When you told the story, I listened to you. You played it for you, and it was like, yeah. But what wasn't highlighted, which I understand, you're in a 3-minute, and it's also like it's radio. You only have so much time in these blocks to talk. It's not like I could tell the story over the next 2 hours, and if somebody was actually interested in it, they would tell me. They would listen to it. But so I get that you were kind of hitting the points. But what happened is that when I left and I looked, I was on the phone with you and I said, oh my gosh, I think there's just an accident. And you said, okay, focus on the road. I'll see when you get home. I said, absolutely. And just as I was coming past it off the right side, I saw the car was on its backside, so on his roof. And there was somebody coming out of the car. And then I could see somebody with a high vis. And I thought, oh, that's not
First responder.
It's not being pulled out. Like, this isn't like a car that's been sitting there for 3 hours. So I just instantly pulled over, parked the car, got out of the car. I took about 3 steps and I stopped, and I'm on the side of the perimeter highway. I'm wearing my bright yellow jacket, and I went, wait. I went back into the car because I didn't have my keys in my pocket. And I grabbed my keys and I thought, take a deep breath, exhaled out. And then because I didn't want to bring panic. I wanted to come in with solution. So I ran as fast as I could to this kid, who later we found out was, a young man. And there was another woman who came, who also stopped with her husband, also a ginger, just want to say, not soulless. We were both joined forces. Shannon, if you ever find out.
Shannon?
Her name was Shannon.
Okay, Shannon the redhead.
Shannon the redhead. Yeah, Shannon the redhead and her husband. And that was the first time I'd ever came to a scene of an accident. It was the first time I had ever seen somebody in shock like that. I've seen people sad. I've seen my kids hit their heads or be in pain, or our son has had, some injuries when he was younger, and that's a story for another day. But something like that sits with you. And so what ended up happening, I backed up my car. Shannon's husband backed me up, and meaning like he had the lights, because you're on the side of the perimeter. Nobody's slowing down. Nobody's stopping. But I get that. People are like, oh, somebody's handling it. I got to get home, right? It's the mission. So I backed up my car, brought him into the back of our car, and there he is just saying the same thing over. He's in a loop. And I got his name out of him. I'm like, it's okay. I'm like, nobody cares about the car. Nobody cares. And then his phone's ringing. So I'm answering his phone. So for probably what was maybe 8 minutes before first responders show up, there's this person I'm dealing with and trying to just get them out of the loop, and you just want the best for him. And, he's bleeding and he's sitting in the back of the car, and the woman, Shannon, she had a first aid kit and she's helping him out. And first responders come in and they're calm and cool and collect, and they park on the side of the road, or they block part of the traffic, and they start handling it. And after that whole experience, and I pray that he's okay, that, he's got his vision, and that him and his family are doing well now, and, that he's going to make a full recovery. I came home and a few things started to transpire. I started to sort of, obviously I came home and I talked about it, and I called you, oh my goodness. But then the next day I was teaching a yoga class about be where your feet are. And I couldn't help but think about these first responders that show up at these scenes, who what I saw was very mild compared to what I'm sure they see. In fact, I know that they see things that an average person would just bawl, but they see that. And I thought, how can I help? How can I support? I believe that yin yoga is something everybody should do at least once a week. I think you should have a moment with yourself and a breath and hug yourself and open up the fascia and just let it go. And so my next hill is, how can I support the first responders to to take a moment, to take the load off, to drop the baggage, because I had it for 8 minutes, 10 minutes, okay, maybe. And I was holding on to that still the next day. I left my phone at Sheepdog Brewing. I left my keys over here. Like, I was all over the place, and I was still living in that past. And that's why my class was called Be Where Your Feet Are. Because I was, if you're too much in the future and you're in anxiety, and if you're too much in the past, you're creating anxiety in your body and fear in your body. So that's the hill. I don't know how. I've reached out to a few, companies and said, like, if I can offer a group, just one, just to kind of see if it hits for some people. I don't know the services they have for first responders, therapists and stuff like that, but that is a hill for me and I didn't know I had it. I didn't know that was even something that I wanted to do. I just wanted to help people open up their fascia when this first started, because it really helped me. But that moment changed me, because I thought, how can I support that community who's supporting our community? Yeah, I'd never been that. And something else I'll share with you, when I first started at the gym, my why, which is really important to me. What's your why? Why are you doing something? My why was standing on a stage and completing a goal. I want to be a bikini athlete. I've had that dream since that photographer told me I was too old for the industry. When he said that to me, your hands and you're getting too old for the industry. I thought, I would love to do that in those fitness competitions. Not that you have to be old to do it, but it was just at the time that was kind of, that's where I could transition into. I don't think that now, but my why did change that night. And it makes me want to tear up, actually, but I didn't know that I had found a new why. Is that when I ran to him and I saw him standing there, I immediately sized him up, and I thought, I could pick him up and I can carry him. And I realized,
you can, brother.
I can, brother. But I knew in that moment, my why became, I'm strong. I'm strong enough to do something that, 16 weeks ago version of me wouldn't have been able to do. And do I still think I would have ran? 100% I would have stopped and I would have ran. But I would have doubted maybe my ability in my strength, my physical strength. When I ran to him and then ran back to get my car, there was nothing. It was, what can I do? How can I pick up? What can I do? It was just, I was able to lock in. And that new why was developed, and that I'm grateful for, because I didn't even know that was in me. Like, I just sized him up and I went, yeah, I can pick him up.
And what's interesting is I remember when I was a volunteer firefighter in Lloydminster, Alberta, and we got called in. Like, we would just put out farm fires and brush fires and stuff like that. But there was a hotel in Lloydminster that caught fire, and it was too big for the local fire department to handle, so they called us in for support. And it was after that day I realized it takes a special kind of human being to do this kind of job. And as much as, like, could I do the job? Sure. But is it something that I'm like, yeah, I don't have that push in me.
Right. Well, and it's a level of adrenaline, because of course there's some people that work out at the gym who are in that industry, and there are, some conversations that I've had of there. It also is an adrenaline kick, right?
Sure.
But then you start to think, and I had this.
Well, it's a lot of highs and a lot of lows, and those lows are thank God, they're finally being dealt with. And they have the support
but are
system.
they?
Yeah. A lot of they do have
I
access
hope so.
to therapists. Some, not all of them use it, but
therapy is amazing. I went to therapy a few years ago, and it really helped. It helped me so much compartmentalize some things and understand something. But it's also the physical body, and I think that's what for me, that's what I want to help with. I can help settle your mind for an hour and breathe and come into your body, but what I don't think people, and maybe people do realize that, but trauma is held into our bodies, right? Mm-hmm. And so, you've I'm staring at the book right now. I've been,
The Psychic Root of Disease.
The Psychic Root of Disease. And I have been reading that book religiously for 8 years. Yeah, 10 years. I mean, what was a gift from you is to have it rebound, because I read it. And it's all about how trauma affects the body. And I know it's not something everybody believes, but I do believe that trauma is held into the body. And so when you take a moment to let go, and for people like that to just sort of get the ability to drop everything, it can take the release off the body, and the trauma off the body that we hold in. If I hear somebody say they have a right tight shoulder or left right shoulder, I immediately go to the book, because it was written by a doctor that he studied. He's a German doctor, and it was like, oh, I know that this or this might be happening, but I'm not going to be like, I'm not a doctor, so I'm not going to say anything. But I use this as when I'm doing my classes of what
it's a different kind of it's a different kind of therapy.
It's a different kind of therapy, and it's my dream one day to be able to. Well, I shouldn't say that. I'm living my dream. Tomorrow, I'm actually teaching my first mind set yin yoga class, and it's gearing towards what I really want to do long term.
No, it's interesting the way you just said that, the way you had a bit of a staccato in there, because normally it's a mindset yoga class.
Staccato?
Staccato is dot, 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 dot. They use it in music rather than
oh yeah, I saw when you said it, I literally was like, oh, let it go music. Okay.
So you said it's a mindset class, but when you said mind set, it's to get your mind set. It's not a mindset. It's
Thank you.
setting your mind, right?
Yeah,
so
because
it's
it's
got
part
two
of our
meanings.
challenge. We have a challenge at our gym that anybody can join. There's 21 spots, and the idea is it's a Sunday morning class to get your mind set for the week. And we start off a challenge, any challenge in our life, we're excited, but excitement fades. So you have to build the foundation. And as somebody who has just gone through the journey and still in the journey and will continue with the journey post competition, I wanted to just offer out what I could offer out with what worked for me, and then guide them through guide them through a yin yoga class, and then actually a stretchful yoga class, and then get them out on those weights.
By chance, Candace Rae, is there still room available in this class?
I don't know. I'm not sure. Maybe there may be one left. If you want to know, you can DM me. There might be one left, but I don't know. We will be doing another one in the summertime, a bigger one, from my understanding.
Okay.
Fall time? I don't know. I'm new to the gym. I'm new to this thing, but I'm doing it. But anyway, that is one of my hills. It's a new hill. It's growing.
I still don't know if I'm sure what the hell. Like, you want to make sure that first responders
I just want to support first responders' mental health.
She's always loved firefighters, for the record.
Well, firefighters, police officers, paramedics, 911 operators, nurses. I just want to be able to help give them an hour of peace.
You doctors.
Sorry. I just mean people. I guess, yeah, you're right. I mean doctors too. All doctors.
Except chiropractors.
No, I love chiropractors. What's happening?
Physiotherapists, I love you guys and girls. You're fantastic. Massage therapists, you're all great in my books. I haven't forgotten about you.
Is that what's considered, like, are dentists considered first
Nah,
responders?
those guys.
So I just say you said it right. It's a new hill. I don't know what it means, but I think it's important that it's talked about. I think mental health, as we've grown older, and we grew up in a time where it was like, shut up. You got a thought? You're sad? Go do something, you know? And then it was deal with your shit, right?
Well, it's so funny you say that, because I feel so bad for the men and women that came back from World War I, World War II, the Korean War, the Vietnam War, all these
100%.
wars.
Go fight a rich man's war.
Where it was just, and look, we're on the precipice of jumping down a really big rabbit hole, but it blows my mind that a lot of these vets were just given drugs. Hey, keep taking these drugs from the Veterans Association. As long as you take these drugs, we'll make sure that you keep getting your pay, your pension pay and whatnot. But the second you stop taking those, saying, actually, I found that marijuana actually cures my anxiety a lot more and helps me. Well, we're not going to pay anymore if you don't take our drugs. You know, and it was just here's a bunch of drugs, rather than thanks for fighting our war.
And
Good
taking
luck.
taking care of the people that went over there. And that's what I mean, taking care of the people that literally leave their families to potentially not come home, to run into a burning building or to run to a car accident or whatever. And you never know what's going to happen. And those families every day, the wives and the husbands, then the spouses are all waving and saying goodbye, hoping that they're going to return. And who's supporting them for the things that they see? Like, even, like, again, what I saw, you know, a kid in blood, and I was just in a shock, and I thought, like, I was still up here for 24 hours, and that's why I was like, you know, so yeah. They need support. So I'm just throwing out there, if you're that, I don't know, I would happily teach a class to people who are in all types of people, Dave.
Except you psychologists. Screw you guys.
I never said that. I don't know. I just mean people who go unseen, whatever. You know, again, it goes back to support your community.
Yep.
You can go down rabbit holes. You can, don't let the news distract you. I mean, I guess that's a conversation. I mean, would I be willing to have a conspiracy theory show?
Ooh, let's talk about the pyramids and all the stuff underneath. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
No, honestly, I would love to talk more, but I think this is a great place to wrap.
But I think that would be a good show,
because
though.
I have a roast in the oven that I have to go care for. Yep. I have that's the honest to God's truth.
So true.
I have a roast in the oven that I have to go tend.
Yeah, your meat's delicious, Dave.
Well, thank you. Yep. First time I've gotten that.
That's not true. Yeah, I've complimented your meat in 17 years.
Have a wonderful week. Hopefully your mind is set for this coming week. If it's not, then feel free to reach out to Candace Rae and honestly, take the class. I do yoga every morning and every afternoon.
Yeah, he wakes me up. He's like, "Hey, it's 4:30. Teach me some mindset."
Yeah, listen, my lower back's sore. Get up. Let's go.
That's one thing we don't. But yes, I would be happy to do that. And I do try and put out some content. I am putting out some weekly content of just a minute of just trying to teach people to do it because I realize not everybody wants to come to a class. My goal also sometimes this year is to put out some YouTube videos that you could do at home. But I'm just
I'm coming for you, Adrian. Coming for you.
No, she's a brilliant mind. No, I just want to support the yin.
Have a great week, everybody. Do all the things down here. That would really be helpful.
Down here?
Down here. All the things that are down here. Do those things. Like there's.
Have the best week.
Yeah.
Have the best week. Be where your feet are. Don't get ahead of yourself. Don't get too far behind. Be where your feet are, and make sure that your coffee is
from Sheepdog.
No, I mean that's a nice plug for them, but make sure that your coffee is hot or cold.
What an ending.
Hold on, I want a better
Just make
one.
sure your coffee is however you like it. Just have coffee.
Get your caffeine in. No, what I should have said was make sure that you're 1% better every single day. No, I want it to be funny. Look at a rainbow.
It was funny.
Make sure you love yourself.